kimono shop. The building was still standing, but the kimonos had all been ruined by the storm surge and by the tsunami. He was just going to close the doors and leave. And then a volunteer brought one of the letters. I don't know which one it was, but it was a very powerful one. And he read it, and he changed his mind. He said, I'm going to stay. I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. I'm going to stay and help breathe life back into my town. So this experience, I saw these letters bring hope. And hope can prevent despair. Hope can bring peace. And I just think it's so important that we all understand that we individuals, we do have the power to bring hope. And so when you see suffering around, whether it's in your backyard or on the other side of the world, know that it is within your power to make a difference. You can take that first step toward peace if you just don't turn your back and say, it's not my problem. Albert Einstein once said, the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about
it. Several years, it seems like it's been longer even, I've been spending time with a guy named Ramzi Abu Redwan, who's a Palestinian violist. He was one of the original stone throwers in the first Palestinian Intifada. I met him many years after that, 10 years after that, in 1998, after the Intifada was over and there was hope for peace in Palestine and Israel. There was a poster of him with this, throwing the stone next to another picture on the same poster of the same young man 10 years later playing the viola. And it was the same guy, and it was an ad for the National Conservatory of Music, and I got to meet this guy. He lived in a refugee camp. I did a profile of him for National Public Radio, and he told me at the time, I want to get really good at the viola. He got a scholarship, he was about to get a scholarship to France. I'm going to come back, and I want to play music and open up music schools for the children of Palestine so they know there's some other possibility, and I want to tell the world that we're here on the map and we're just like anybody else. So after a while, as you do as a journalist, you lose track, unfortunately, of people. And I came back a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and by chance, I'm in a restaurant, an Italian restaurant in Ramallah in the West Bank, and I hear, Sandy! I look up, and he had grown a beard, I didn't recognize him. He says, Ramzi! I said, Ramzi, what are you doing? He said, I'm back. I'm opening up music schools for the children of Palestine. That's what the book I'm working on now is about, if I ever finish it. And so why am I mentioning, what do these people have to do with world peace? I just want to say a couple words about that. First of all, they're on the front lines of what I would say, and they would, I think, say, I can speak for them, this is my understanding, what they believe is that it's the creation of a just peace. Peace is not just the absence of violence.
I travel throughout the world because there is a prophecy that I grew up with in Hawaii, and it said someday the world will be in trouble. It will have forgotten itself. And in Hawaii, I was raised in part by 3 women elders who knew the names of the winds and the rains and the elements. And when we planted according to lunar cycles. When we fished the same way by moon cycles. They had and instilled in us a reverence for the natural world with such a degree of intimacy that when they chanted and when they spoke, it was as if they were speaking to the beloved. And it is this degree of reverence that when we know it deeply, there is no way that we can consume to excess. There is no way that we can assault our resources. And what I love about technology, and it's been spoken into with Ariana and Sadhguru, is that we now have access to communicating in ways that we've never had before. And for me, it's like gathering around a metaphoric fire. If used well, we are able to share our stories, to listen deeply to one another, to to be seen and to see, to listen and to hear. And what happens as a result is that when we truly listen to another and we look into the eyes of another, and we hear their sorrows and their joys, we transcend political rhetoric, and we are able to see another that would otherwise be defined as an enemy or as an adversary. And then the idea of war and conflict becomes insane. What I learned from these cultures reminds me how precious life is, but how we must take responsibility. In Hawaii, we have a tradition called ho'oponopono, and that is a practice of reconciliation. And what we must do is take responsibility for what we create. And in the process of ho'oponopono, we clear ourselves, but even the food that we gather, the food that we make medicine out of and that we eat, all of it becomes a sacred practice. None of it is reckless or cavalier. When we chant, we understand the technology that's inherent in these cultures, and that's so intrinsic to my work because all of this is inextricably woven. You know, what I am seeing, especially in the West, is this deep yearning and longing for peace.